Suddenly, the earth seemed to shake, and a thundercloud burst in my ears. I opened my eyes. I was splashed all over with sticky mud, and men were picking themselves up from the bottom of the trench. The parapet on my left had toppled into the trench, completely blocking it with a wall of tossed-up earth. The man on my left lay still. I rubbed the mud from my face, and an awful sight met my gaze. His head was smashed to a pulp, and his steel helmet was full of brains and blood. A German Minnie had exploded in the next traverse. Men were digging into the soft mass of mud in a frenzy of haste. Stretcher bearers came up the trench on the double. After a few minutes of digging, 3 still, muddy forms on stretchers were carried down the communication trench to the rear. Soon they would be resting somewhere in France, with a little wooden cross over their heads. They had done their bit for king and country, had died without firing a shot, but their services were appreciated, nevertheless. Lying on my belly on the bottom of the trench, I filled sandbags with the sticky mud. They were dragged to my rear by the other men, and the work of rebuilding the parapet was on. The harder I worked, the better I felt. Although the weather was cold, I was soaked with sweat. Occasionally, a bullet would crack overhead, and a machine gun would kick up the mud on the bashed-in parapet. At each crack, I would duck and shield my face with my arm. One of the older men noticed this action of mine and whispered, "Don't duck at the crack of a bullet, Yank. The danger has passed. You never hear the one that wings you. Always remember that if you are going to get it, you'll get it, so never worry." This made a great impression on me at that time, and from then on I adopted his motto, "If you're going to get it, you'll get it." After an hour's hard work, all my nervousness left me, and I was laughing and joking with the rest. At 1 o'clock, dinner came up in the form of a Dixie of hot stew. I looked for my canteen. It had fallen off the fire step and was half buried in the mud. The man on my left noticed this and told the corporal, dishing out the rations, to put my share in his mess tin. Then he whispered to me, "Always take care of your mess tin, mate." That stew tasted fine. I was as hungry as a bear. We had seconds because 3 of the men had gone west, killed by the explosion of the German trench mortar. And we ate their share. But still I was hungry, so I filled in with bully beef and biscuits. Then I drained my water bottle. Later on, I learned another maxim of the front line: go sparingly with your water. The bully beef made me thirsty, and by tea time I was dying for a drink. But my pride would not allow me to ask my mates for water. I was fast learning the ethics of the trenches.